Okay, so you've got a new VR headset and you're going to go flying, and of course if you're going to fly in VR, the only way to do it is in X-Plane, in my humble opinion. And I've been doing it for a while now, and I'm going to go through my top 5 in no preference order whatsoever, but 5 must-have add-ons, utilities, call them whatever you want, for X-Plane that will completely enhance, if not change, your VR experience. So the first one I'm going to talk about is to do with performance, and before you shout me down, this is just my opinion. Do not chase frame rates. Frame rates aren't important. Well, not altogether important. As long as you've got more than 20 frames, below 20 frames a second in X-Plane, real time starts going slower and slower. So if you look at the clock in the cockpit and then compare it with your watch, you'll find that a flight that should take 30 minutes and says 30 minutes in the cockpit has actually taken 45 minutes in real time. That's because your frame rate's just dropping too low. So that seems to happen about 20. So anything above 20 should be good. Won't affect the flight dynamics as it does in some of the other simulators out there. As you lose frame rates, you lose in flight dynamics. That doesn't seem to happen in my experience in X-Plane, but I may be wrong. I'm not an expert, I'm not a coder, it's just my experience. So the app I want to talk about, or the add-on, is actually a Lua script. By the way, I'm going to put links in the notes below if I work out how to do it properly, so you can download all of these. So the first one is OVR Settings. OVR Settings is a replacement for the Oculus Tray tool, if you've heard of it. Oh, by the way, yeah, this is for Oculus users. That's my headset of choice. That started off with the Rift and now it's the S. Just love it. I think it's brilliant and sensible price. There are better headsets out there. I just can't afford one yet. So, the Rift. The Oculus Rift, there is an app out there called the Oculus Tray Tool, which is brilliant. This is better. There is the Oculus Debug Tool, which you get inside the Oculus folders, and there are other apps out there that limit the field of load, the load field and things like that. I've binned them all, and I'm just using OVR Settings. So I'm not going to go through installing and all the other stuff. It's all in the notes on screen. If you do need any help, there are some other videos out there online, but if you'd like me to do one, drop me a note below and I'll do a how-to. For now, I'm just going to show you what it looks like and how it works inside your cockpits. So let's jump into VR. Take my glasses off. I know you can wear glasses inside the room. Here we are. Everyone's setup's going to be different. Like I said, don't bother about chasing frame rates. Don't bother keeping the frame rate counter on the screen. All you're interested in is getting it smooth, in my humble opinion. Just so you can see what my setup is. If we go to graphics, you can see I've got HDR on, texture quality. I don't think going above high makes any difference when you're in VR. I mean, this isn't a 4K headset, so high seems fine for me. Anti-aliasing, I've left that off. And number of world objects, I've whacked up right to the top because I like flying in VR and I like flying VFR. I do fly heavies as well, but it's nice to see everything out there. So let's jump into the cockpit, and here I am. The default Cessna I'm going to be using for this, and we're at Shoreham and my controllers. So I want to bring up OVR settings and show it to you. It is a Lua script. So if I go to my right hand controller and click the menu, and then I want to go to the advanced menu. So use your thumbstick, go to advanced and click on the thumbstick. And now I want to scroll down to plugins, go to the right, scroll down, go to Fly with Lua, which you will have installed as well, and in the macros go up to OVR settings. It's locked on the end of my sellotaped, or it's stuck to the end of my controller until I put it down somewhere and press the trigger. So we'll put it there and press the trigger. You only have to set this up once. Once it's up and set, you'll never have to go into this again. So quickly show you what's here. Super sampling. If you don't know what super sampling is, basically it's oversamples the number of pixels that are there in the real screen, and then when it downsamples it to put it into your VR headset, it's supposed to look better and sharper. I find 1.5 works for me, and it's a good compromise. Well, it's not a compromise, because if I go above 1.5 I can't see any difference, but obviously, the higher that is, the more work this thing's going to do, and the slower it'll go. And I'm not after about frame rates, I'm after about smoothness. So when I move my head around, it stays smooth. When I look out the window and I'm going low over traffic and over the fields, I don't get micro stutters. I just want it smooth. So super sampling. ASW, asynchronous space warp. Well, for my use, I've got it switched off. For your use, you might want to try one of these other ones. Give it a try, fly around, adjust your settings so you've got the right graphics out there, manipulate this, and you will end up with a smooth flight. Don't chase the frame rates, chase the smoothness. And that is OVR settings. Once you've got it set up, as I said, you'll never have to go into it again, and there you go. Must have, number one. Don't forget you will need Fly with Lua. It's all in those notes. Just follow what it says on screen. So let's come out of here. The next one, hey, this should be on everyone's list. In fact, it should be in X-Planer standard. It is that good. What is it? AviTab. It's a EFB. It is a move. It is a moving map. It is, I'll tell you what it is. It's essential. So, again, download it, install it, and let's jump into VR. Put the headset on. Right, to call up AviTab, the best thing to do is to set up a keyboard shortcut or a mouse shortcut, or better still, like me, I don't have any hardware now. I'm just using everything with the controllers. I'm going to create a controller shortcut. So let me quickly show you that. If you've got AviTab installed, you can go to flight configuration, go to the settings and go to joystick. I'm going to do it on the left controller, and I'm going to use this middle finger trigger here. So click edit, and I'm going to search for AviTab, and having found it, I select toggle tablet, apply. Now whenever I press this button, it's going to toggle the tablet in any aircraft. So like I said, there are mods for some aircraft. It's there in the Zebo. It's in the helicopter that I fly, the 412. And a bit like the standard tablet you get in X-Plane, it will appear as a tablet. But for any plane, it's available now just by pulling that trigger. And there it is. Now you'll see when I launch it, it is locked to the front of my headset. You've got to grab the top and move it and put it somewhere. You can resize it, of course. Click the bottom left, make it as big, smaller. And I'll just go through a couple of the ones that I use. Charts is a directory inside your computer where you're going to put PDFs. Those PDFs could be flight plans. There's a sim brief plan. It could be documentation, or it could be your charts. I don't put charts in there because I got Navigraph, and hey, let's see that in a second. Airports, love this. So we're sitting at EGKA at the moment. So if I put that in and press enter, so this is a GA airfield. I can see my tower frequencies, and I can see the runways. No ILS frequencies or anything like that. No METARs here either. But because I have Navigraph, if I see this menu option here, and let's go to the airport charts, load the airport chart. There I am. There's my airport chart. There's my aeroplane. As I taxi around, you're going to see this aeroplane follow me around. This is terrific. Let's go back to search, and let's say I was going to fly out to Gatwick now. So we'll do EGKK, enter, and I've got the delivery frequencies, the ILS frequencies, the course, and I've also got the METAR and the QNH at Gatwick at the moment is 1011. And again, if I go to charts, and let's look at the arrival charts, and let's nav arrival, and there is the chart. And again, you can zoom in or out, and you can move it around. And now I've got my taxi, I've got that, I've got it's just brilliant. Even if you don't have a Navigraph subscription, just get in the airport information up. So close that down, close that down, close that down, close that one down. Just getting this information while you're in the aircraft, brilliant. Don't have to take the headset off. They're all my frequencies. I love it. Maps. Routes is just a route planner. Just a route planner. It is a route planner in there as well. Maps, again, we got a moving map now in the cockpit. You can zoom in and out. It's OpenStreetMaps, where you can zoom right in, we can zoom right out. And keep an eye where you are. A frame rate counter in the top left hand side. For those that are interested in the frame rates, switch it off. It's not important. What's important is it's smooth. In the aircraft, I could put my aircraft manuals into that folder and pull those up. I don't have the aircraft manuals in here. There's a note taker. I've got to admit, I'm not 106.35. Yeah, I'm not very good at drawing. But you make notes in here. That's AviTab. Bind it to a button, bring it up, stick it wherever you want, put it down there, and away you go. I think this should be built into X-Plane. There are more and more planes that have the mods in now. So the Diamond DA62, it's there. It sits in the glove compartment, and if you click on it, you get this iPad come out. And, give it a try. Doesn't set you back a penny. And let's go back. Where's my glasses? The next add-on you've already seen. It is the VR controllers mod. So if you've already put your headset on and had a play around, you'll notice that your controllers look different to mine. Mine have a ghostly, see-through, translucent appearance. So they're less intrusive. I can see through when I'm looking down at the FMC. If I put the controller up in front of it, I can still see through it. Hey, it's less intrusive. And I've also switched the manipulators off in X-Plane, so the green manipulators. I still got the manipulators, but when I hover over them, they don't glow green anymore. That's an option inside X-Plane 11. So 11.3, whatever. So yeah, VR controllers, highly recommend that. Has no impact on frame rates or anything like that, but makes the experience more immersive, in my opinion. So the next one I'm going to talk about is VR tools. And VR tools started off just as a way of displaying notes. So you could type up a text document and show it in the cockpit. Now, of course, you can do that inside AviTab. VR tools does it a bit better, and it does so much more now. It's got a hotspot editor in it. And I'm not actually going to go through that now, but you can go through the hotspots in the aircraft and even create your own hotspots. Love it. But let's show you what I use it for, and it also works really well when you're using Pilot to ATC. In fact, it's a must-have for Pilot to ATC. So let me show you that as well. Let's. So just before I put the headset on, let's quickly look at Pilot to ATC. I've got a very simple VFR flight loaded up, and I'm going to show you how VR tools helps me with Pilot to ATC in the cockpit. So let's drop the headset down. I think I've got some ATS going on in the background there. So I'm just going to turn. And ideally you want VR tools mapped to one of your buttons. So if let's have a look. Flight configuration settings. Let's see what I'm using my controller left. That resets. So button 3 is not doing anything at the moment, so edit that, and we want VR tools and toggle text and apply. Done. Resume. So this button now should. There we go. So I can load a text file. So let's do this flight notes. Okay, so I just wrote this up in Notepad and saved it. It was for a simple flight I was going to do earlier on. Let's start the plane up. So I'm going to show you a couple of tricks here. And what I wanted to show you was these here. If you write down some frequencies in here, so VOR2, I click on that, I can now enter that frequency, so 115.75, I can enter it into NAV1 or NAV2. So NAV1 at the moment, if I click that, 115.75 has been entered in there. 116, NAV1, 116. Isn't that cool? So there's one of the things you can do, but let's go and load conversations text. So I set Pilot to ATC to write everything out to this conversation text, and we'll dump that down there, and I'll set it to auto reload. So let's call up Pilot to ATC. Skyways 157, ready to copy.
Skyways 157 cleared VFR to Echo Golf Hotel Alpha with radar advisory service at 4,500 feet. Squawk 3002 advise of altitude changes en route.
So you can see here, it's given me what was said. So now I can do my read back from here. So all I have to do is read back here the suggested. Cleared VFR to Echo Golf Hotel Alpha, maintain 4,500 feet, squawking 3002, Skyways 157.
Skyways 157, rear back in.
So, VR tools, just a quick overview of what that does. And the final one to talk about, you've seen it in action already, it's an invisible one. This is Pi Command to Key. You have a limited number of buttons on here, and not everything on here can be mapped to do things that you might want it to do, like a push-to-talk key. So I needed a push-to-talk button so I could talk to Pilot to ATC, and I also wanted to talk online if I'm using and if I'm using TeamSpeak, I could also do push-to-talk with that. And it's just mapping key presses to joystick buttons, and I can map joystick buttons on here with Command to Key. This is probably the most fiddly one to set up. So I've done a video for it on my channel. There's a link to it there, X-Plane VR Push to Talk. So I'll put a link to that in the notes below, and if you want to have a go at setting up Push to Talk as well, that should show you through that. So those are my top 5 must-have essential VR plugins as it stands right now. One of them purely for the Oculus Rift, the others for everyone. So if you think they're worth a go, give it a try. And if you've got any problems and you want to walk through video on how to set them up and you can't find another one online, let me know in the notes below or send me a private message and I'll do a video for you. Until then, enjoy your flying and good night.